Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Yeah, I'm in the building. What's good, everybody? I had to do a little real quick live. I want to do a live on college football, HBCUs. I wanted to do it on them specifically. Real short live, nothing too crazy. I want to do a live on them for the season, for the games I watched at least. You know, Get y'all over the head with that commentary. Yeah. Shout out to GMC. Good looking out, sliding through. Shout out to anybody else that's in the chats. Yeah, I'm gonna wait till some other people get in here. I don't know if GMC is still in here. I'm gonna wait, give it a minute before I start my little banter. Shout out to the one person in the chat. Yeah, man. Yeah, so I'm gonna just start it. 'Cause ain't nobody coming. So here's the case, yo. I want to do something on HBCU football. I started watching this more so last season. Really heavy this season. I probably caught maybe like 2, 3 games last season. I don't even remember how many games I caught last season actually, but I know I caught a few. Mostly JSU games. I think I watched one like um what is it? North Carolina AT. I caught maybe one of their games, but this season I watched a lot. I watched a few. I watched a majority of JSU games, but I caught a Mississippi Valley. And I think it was against Alabama State. I forgot, but I had caught it on YouTube. It's a dude that I follow on there that he be uploading the HBCU games, so I'll be catching him and watching them on there because it'd be hard to catch them on, you know, ESPN or anything else like that. They don't really be showing it like that or anywhere else. You ain't gonna see it on ABC or something. So I was tuning into him, watching him, and watching the games on there, and he had good quality and everything. So I was rocking with that. Yeah, I just wanted to say, I enjoy it. I'm a fan of college football. That's one of my favorite sports: college football, NBA, boxing. That's usually my top three. Not in no order, but that's usually what I watch. So, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm watching this. This is like, I guess, new territory for me because I'm usually watching FSU and Texas and, Nebraska and UCLA and all them. So I'm watching that with a whole new lens, fresh pair of eyes, just the way that they do things down there, whether it's with the bands and just, you know, the coaching down there and just the way they conduct themselves. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching that, and I enjoyed it. Jacksonville, Jackson State. They was going hard this season, blowing dudes out the water. I was watching it because Dion was their head coach. He brought a lot of attention to Jackson State, so that was my reasoning to start watching them. A couple years ago. So I was watching them, watching their games, just looking at the offense. Their offense was going hard. You know, um, they was more so a second half team. They would start slow, but they would turn it up. Whatever he said, I'm pretty sure it was majority of the time it was Dion, but what he said in them locker rooms during halftime would motivate them boys, and they would sit there and they would amp up by the second half. So, I would see Shador. He would be throwing them bombs. He was running the football, doing everything. He was doing his thing. He was a great quarterback for JSU. Just watching their games, just doing a thing though. you know, Travis Hunter, seeing him play. doing some of his plays. He was very dynamic. He did some things, not gonna lie. I seen him. Um, it was just fun watching that, watching how the crowd interacts with the team, how the band when the band come up during the halftime, watching the band, watching the dancers and everything. That stuff was cool. The bands is what really did it for me. I like the bands, hearing them do the music and then the little interpretations of little popular songs or once popular songs. I like that. I like seeing that energy and seeing what they was doing with that. So just seeing the spotlight that was bringing with Dion and brought and just everything with that, I was happy for it because even before I started watching football, I was aware of HBCUs and I was aware of their football programs. So I just didn't watch it because I had no access to it. Maybe it was just being too lazy or it was just naturally it wasn't no access to watch them games. But I sat there and I always, you always hear like, what if Cam Newton would have stayed or would have went to HBCU or what if, such and such would have went, you know, and just to see a lot of recruits come down there, whether it was Jackson State or any other school, it was crazy. It was crazy to see how much difference it was making for the schools and how the teams was playing. You know, having those athletes. So I liked what everything was happening, and I hope it keeps going. I hope that energy keeps going. I hope that they continue with that. Continue with that energy and momentum and build upon that, and the games keep getting televised and everything. Um, I hope that they continue to get them athletes and keep getting these head coaches and stuff. Okay, hold on. Got some comments. Shout out to Miss 702. Yes, Sports Talk. Thank you, sweetheart, for coming in. Shout out to Ron Moore. Ron Moore in the building, keeping it ECW, you know. But yeah, I like the attention they got. Hopefully I can keep catching more games. The last game that they just had was on ABC, the championship game. That's a big, 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 big look. But yeah, so I caught the majority of JSU games, like I said. I'm pretty much gonna talk about that last game because I watched the whole game. That's gonna be like the primary talk. I was just talking around it, just talking about some of the little things I caught before, championship. JSU went 12-0. They had an undefeated season. Like I said, they was blowing people out, man. They was going hard on everybody. They won the SWAC. Dion had that famous quote, "Who ain't SWAC? I'm the SWAC." Yeah, so they won that. What was it, North Carolina? I forgot the other NCCA, something NCCU. My bad. They had won the MEAC, so they was facing each other in the title game. Um, I'm gonna just talk about the game, man. That was the best game that I seen all season, and maybe even last season. Though that was the best game. You know, both teams was scoring. They was doing their thing. The offense, both quarterbacks was looking good. They was doing their thing. I got one of my subscribers, a good buddy of mine, Kenneth Johnson. We had a talk about that prior to the game, a couple days prior, and he was giving me the fill in on the quarterback, of NCCU. He was telling me you got to watch out for this dude. You got to watch out for this dude. He's high powered. He got a great arm. He be slinging that thing. He's one of the best quarterbacks along with Shador. Like it's not gonna be an easy task for JSU to beat him. He was watching film on him and seeing how he was doing, and I'm like, okay, that just sound like a good matchup then. So going into the game, we all know, Coach Sanders, Coach Dion, he's going to Colorado. So that's been the whole buzz about it. How he was gonna go, excuse me, how he was gonna go into coaching this last game, coaching this bowl game, right? That's the whole thing. How the kids was going to interact. They already got the new head coach. What is it? TC, Coach TC. He's the new head coach for JSU. So going into that, man, I'm just like, I hope everything turned out. Dion's still gonna coach. I hope the kids is energized because I was rooting for JSU. I'm like, I hope they energized. I hope they focus. I hope they ready. And I come into the game. I want to say I missed like maybe about 6, 7 minutes of the game. Um, I came into it when NCCU was up by 10. They scored the first 10 points, so they up, and um, Jacksonville State hadn't scored. As soon as I watched, boom, Shador get that touchdown, and it's like, okay, they doing what they need to do. They scoring, but we all know they a second half team. They start off slow. So what I caught was, this is my little interpretation, was overall, I think the offense was doing a thing. It was the defense that kind of let them down. It was a lot of drop balls though. I'm not gonna lie, on the offense. Even that second to last play, it was a couple other plays. I seen them drop a lot of passes, but I think the defense just wasn't able to stop NCCU. They was not able to stop them. They stopped them on third downs. I forgot what they stats was on third down, but every time they was in the red zone, I think they scored. I think every time they was in the red zone, they scored. So it was like they couldn't stop them. I think that was the biggest problem with the defense. Couldn't get stops. The offense was scoring. They kept up with them all the way up into overtime, but defense just couldn't get stopped. So yeah, Shador was doing his thing. He scored. I think he had 5 touchdowns overall, whether he ran it or he threw it. Um, it was a great game, man. That quarterback for the other team, he went hard too. I gotta give him his props. I don't know his name. I wish my boy Kenneth Johnson was here. He would have told me his name. But he went hard. They That was the best game to me. That was the best HBCU game I've probably ever seen. But I don't want to go crazy. That is the best HBCU game I ever seen. Who am I kidding? I ain't seen that many damn HBCU games. That's the best HBCU game I have ever seen. And I was happy to see that, just to watch that. Even though the team that I was rooting for didn't win, I was happy to see it. So I'm gonna just give my little 2 cents on the end. You know, JSU was down. They had to go for it at the end, you know, and it's like seconds on the clock, and they score that touchdown to make it go into overtime. That was crazy. That was crazy, 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 crazy. So the energy is hype. Like, yo, they just scored, and everybody's saying they should go for two. But in football, like you don't want to go for two because if you go for two and you don't make it, you lose. You lose, and then people gonna call you stupid for being too ambitious and going for two and not kicking that extra field goal and not trusting your defense or your offense going in overtime. I'm gonna be honest. I was thinking playing it safe, just like whoever made the call. Pretty sure it was Dion to kick the extra point, and so they kick the extra point. They're going to overtime. They do the coin toss, and they win the coin toss, and they defer. So they're gonna play defense first, which I thought they was gonna do because they wanted to see if their defense could get a stop, if they could stop the other team, and they felt comfortable that they would be able to score. Unfortunately, that did not happen. The other team scored a touchdown. So now it's on the offense to match them. They got to score a touchdown just the same. That did not happen, man. It was one play. They threw it to the tight end. He dropped it in the end zone. Even till today, everybody is on this kid's head about dropping that pass. He was so distraught and so hurt. He was crying in the locker room. Dion even put it on his Instagram, consoling the kid, giving him a talk, like being that motivational head coach that he is, telling him like, man, we all lost this game. Which is true. You can't just blame one person, one player. The defense didn't stop the offense. So how you gonna blame this kid for not, scoring a touchdown? They should have never been in the position where they only lost by a touchdown. So, you know, that play was it was heartbreaking though, because they could have won with that. They could have. There you go, my boy Kenneth Johnson. There you go. Yeah, it's all good, bro. Yeah, it's all good. I'm talking about the game. I'm pretty much talking about yesterday's game. I just talked about the play where the tight end dropped the pass. I just talked about it and how Dion was on he was on Instagram and he posted the post motivating that kid, trying to console him because he was heartbroken, he was distraught, and that's not even after what he probably done seen on social media and everything. But yeah, man, they dropped that pass. He drops that pass. It's fourth and goal. Shador throws it into the back of the end zone. You know, and they lose. Time runs out. They didn't even make it on fourth down, fourth and goal, and they lose, man. And they started undefeated, and it's crushing. I wanted to see him win. I think Kenneth can correct me, but that was their best season. As far as wins, they never. I don't think they ever went undefeated. And just to cap it off with that championship, with that ball game, would have been crazy, 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 crazy. So I was hurt, but they got another chance, man. They gonna get another chance. They got some good recruits down there, some good athletes through Dion, or even if they get some people transferring through the portal, and just I'm pretty sure TC he's gonna be able to recruit some guys too. But man, it was a great game. I want to, if you want to come up, let me know, Kenneth. Um, you could just put it in the chat. But I said that was the best HBCU game that I seen this season, for sure this season. But for me personally, since I haven't seen that many games, that's the best game I've ever seen. For me personally, because I haven't seen that many games, that's the best game. It was so exciting. It was just crazy, man. I enjoyed the heck out of it. All right, let me check the comments real quick. ECW versus OWWE. Yes, Ron Moore would know a little something about that. Me and Ron be talking about it. That was yeah, it was the best HBCU game I ever seen. Okay. Yo, Henny, you good, G? Much love. Hey, salute Scarface, salute. I appreciate you tapping in. Okay, let me see. How do I drop the link? Let me see, guest, invite guest, copy link, copy. All right, 1 second. Post comment. Boom. StreamYard. Bam. There we go. There we go right there. Yeah, I appreciate you coming through, Scarface. I appreciate the 6 people in the chat, man. I appreciate y'all, sliding through here in this HBCU football talk. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Um, yeah, salute to the other team, man. They did what they had to do. They wasn't afraid of the bright lights. They came in ready to play. They wasn't scared of Dion. They wasn't scared to be on ABC. They wasn't scared of nothing. They came in and showed out. And I'm pretty sure they got eyes on them too. They got eyes on that quarterback. And it was a wide receiver. I forget his name. He got eyes on him now. They both got eyes on him. Oh, it's going good, man. I appreciate it's going good, man. Just talking a little bit and just giving my little spiel. Um, what was I gonna say? Yeah, man. I'm pretty sure that other team they like the way that they showed themselves. They showed out. They showed out. All right, my boy Kenneth Johnson in the building. Let me add him to the stream. Y'all welcome Kenneth Johnson in, man.
Oh, salute,
Yeah,
salute, man. What's going
salute,
on?
bro. What's going on? Nothing much. Just talk about this game, man. Talk about overall. The whole topic is about HBCU and the football, But right now, I was talking about last night or yesterday's game, yesterday afternoon's game, But overall, you welcome to speak on anything HBCU as far as football, just anything. The whole season, your favorite teams, your favorite game, anything you want to.
That was definitely one of the best games I've seen HBCU, especially this year. Of
Hmm.
course, I seen, I was a kid watching Rice battle it out at Jackson State when he played at Valley. Of course,
Hmm.
I was on the yard when McNair played, so I saw some hellified games there then, of course. But that was amazing, especially for at that, in a national championship, you can't beat no more
Hmm.
than that. And one thing I say that I had noticed. Of course, I told you I was definitely before the game. I was worried about that quarterback because I knew he
Yes.
was a stud, and I knew that
Mhm.
North Carolina Central was a traditional powerhouse. And actually, TC came from there. He was the offensive coordinator there when they went
Okay.
to the last Heritage Bowl, Celebration Bowl championship.
Hmm.
So I knew they were going to be a problem, and I knew it was going to be a problem too when Dion benched the all swag defensive lineman, Niles Gaddy. They say it was late for a meeting or something. And I was like, wow, they didn't even let him dress out.
Oh,
And of
that's
course, we
crazy.
got torched for 400 yards, over 400.
Exactly.
So, that was ugly. But all in all, they still, you know, I mean, you can't. If it go down like that, you just can accept it. You accept that a
Exactly.
lot. And the last thing I say, and TC was the I know DC got, I mean, not DC, I'm sorry, Dion got a lot of
Mhm.
credit for bringing the 4 and 5 stars in, but all the big time recruits, the 3 stars, which would make the team, of course, everybody know that it's more 3 stars in the NFL than, 4 and 5 stars by far.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
TC and Redden, who are going to stay on the staff at Jackson State, they the one that got all those, they were the one who were bringing all the 3 stars in. And of course, and we and Cam number 3 that had
Hmm.
to be he probably had the best offensive game I think of anybody. The freshman, he was swag freshman of the year. He's
Okay.
staying. I thought for sure he was
Oh,
going to
nice.
Colorado, but he's
Okay.
staying. And I was
Okay.
like, wow. So
I like to
we
hear
got to
that.
we got to make sure we keep on giving and keep on supporting all HBCU. You know.
Definitely. Definitely, definitely. That's what I was saying a little earlier, even prior to me really getting into the football, I was always aware of the HBCUs as far as just the colleges, but just I heard about the sports teams, but you never really had access to watch them anywhere as far as
Hmm.
television or anything. So it's always been that black hole for viewership. And now with all this stuff with Dion coming and more eyeballs being into it and more attention, it's a good thing. That's one thing I could give him is he did bring that attention, that national attention to it, to where more people are now aware of these teams and just maybe even just that mindset of just supporting them, however they can, whether it's buying the merch, going to the games, getting their kids to attend the schools, just all of that type of stuff, just really rallying behind HBCUs. I'm hoping that's what turns into something. Um, I was gonna ask you, how do you feel about the game being televised on ABC? Don't you feel like that was a real big look?
I do, man, especially, cause I just found out this year that, the Celebration Bowl is actually owned by ESPN, of course, ABC, and
Yeah.
with the numbers. So I actually had a small conversation with the guy that's over the Celebration Bowl, and he says that it, it's actually like it's the top 13 of all bowl games, in terms of
Hmm.
viewership and I mean in terms of attendance and all of that. And if you take out the playoffs, it's like in the top 6 or whatever. So I'm definitely glad they had got this big had because of course the last 2 years Jackson State was there, been the biggest crowds ever because you
Yeah.
travel a lot. And so and that's why and then ESPN is doing a 10 year. They're going to be televising swag games for the next 10 years, which is great. You know,
Yeah.
and I would like to say, man, of course, man, I'm definitely sad to see Dion leave,
Hmm.
but I don't feel bad. I mean, I'm not,
Yeah, devastated.
yeah, I'm not devastated. I'm glad Jackson State was able to help Dion, and Dion was actually, he was able to help Jackson State. So it's
Yep.
cool. And I think most fans will say that. I think you probably have some bandwagon fans that probably hate on Jackson State because of course, among HBCUs, it's intense rivalry. So
Yeah.
some of that crap you probably see on the internet is some, a fan of other schools, other black colleges.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, I think it worked out for both, and I'm sure Dion will, Dion agree. His kids, what I'm saying. People at Jackson State, we all will be overwhelmed. This gonna go down in history. We'll be talking about this like we talk about the Jerry Rice coming to Jackson and all
Yeah.
that. You couldn't beat that game, and I feel bad for that kid, man. Ooh, I feel bad for that
Oh,
kid.
the tight end. Yeah.
Yeah, man. They said he was unconsolable for hours later. I was like, wow, I feel
Hmm.
bad for that kid.
Yeah. Did you see the post that Dion made where he was trying to console him in the locker room?
Nah, I hadn't seen it, but because I sort of stayed off. I was like, I didn't want to see it for a couple of days, because it was
Hmm.
the loss was, I wasn't devastated, but it, like wow, it was so close. But like I say, let's play it again. It was good. It was great. You had two. I had told you this. Privately that you got
Hmm.
two teams that are really the two top teams in HBC. HBCU ball. This was
Yeah.
this was bound to happen. This how it should have turned out. I hate we
Exactly.
was on the other side. But man, it was a good one.
It was. It was a real good one. I liked it a lot. Okay, Miss 702 got a question for you. She said,
Okay,
as a JSU alumni, were you excited for the guys to make it this far?
definitely. Yeah, I definitely was because Jackson State has a tradition of, being a football powerhouse. Of course, we're in the South. And
Hmm.
for the last maybe 10 or 15 years, we've had presidents and and ADs that weren't a part that didn't come from black colleges. So they would fire the football coach. We had one football coach to get fired after making it to the SWAC championship. He was fired the next
Mm.
year. And then we hired somebody. We went 3-8 the next season. So, man, I can't believe it. And 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 I'm excited about it because, of course, we've always had this energy. But it's like the world. The rest of the nation get to see it. I say Jackson State and the SWAC. It's always been like this with the fan participation and all of that. So it's just like the world get to see.
Yeah.
That wow, y'all doing it like that, yes. And and speaking of, and so I'm definitely excited. And Dion, for all intents and purposes, Jackson State was already the highest paid job for a black college, in black college sports, football head coach. But with Dion and ESPN and the 10 games on television, man, is one of the top programs in the country, and
Yeah.
we can't, man, I can't believe it actually. I really can't.
Yeah, it's just how fast the school has turned around and how much has
Exactly.
been done in such a short period of time.
Cause Henny, we don't have 8,000 students,
Yeah.
but we get spoke. We in the same. They've always, comparing us to Mississippi State, Ole Miss, all the SEC
Hmm.
schools, of course, now Colorado. We like, man, we 8,000 students. We're small. It's just
Yeah.
that you got a lot of support of the city, and thankful for that because that's all Jackson really have,
Hmm.
is the because I think actually I'm sure people in city government they base winter and Jackson State football. They give it. They figure that into their budget. I'm sure they do. They got to.
Mm, got you.
Yeah. So yeah, to answer her question, more I'm overwhelmed. Can't believe it. They made it this far. That's why I said I can't really be disappointed. Because
Yeah.
more than I ever anybody would ever ask. Because you think if Dion would have done this in 6 years, we'd be like, wow, that's amazing. And to do it in two,
Get in just 2 3 years. Yeah, just that
exactly.
short amount of time, and then really COVID don't really count because that shortened the season so much. He
And
wasn't
every
able to
SWAC,
do.
yeah, and every SWAC school didn't even participate, in
Yeah.
that COVID season. And you think Dion missed 6 or 7 games last year in
Yep.
ICU fighting for his life.
Yeah.
So
So he never. This was like his first one where he really
yeah,
got to
exactly.
show his skills, show his coaching skills, and really, utilize these kids and show them the way. You know. What I wanted to ask you is, we seen last season they had lost in the title game, and then they
Hmm.
did it this year. What do you think it is that they not able to win that last game, win the big one? Like what happens every these last 2 years, like every time?
And it's been
What's
like that.
missing?
The SWAC has only won that game once, and it was I think like a 60. I mean 9. I think Alcorn won 9-10 against North Carolina Central a few
Got you.
years ago. So they probably up. I think maybe we've only won 1 out of 6 or 7. But one I think is that uh, we played as championship game
Hmm.
with North Carolina Central. The MEAC, which is a great, I mean great. They great up. They got great programs. Hampton and Howards and all. North Carolina A&T. It's stored programs
Hmm.
up there too. But they have a whole month of game plan, man, because they'll stop playing games. It's been almost a month, and then so I think with that length, they got that time to game plan a month, and I'm sure other MEAC coaches are watching film. Ooh, I see something. You know what I'm saying? Which they
Yeah,
should do.
giving them
You know what I'm
pointers.
saying? I would do.
Yeah.
We would hope the SWAC schools would do the same thing. But don't get me wrong. I don't want them to stop playing the SWAC championship game. But I
Hmm.
do think that gives an advantage. You got a month of game plan. You got a month to heal up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? All the little nagging injuries and all that heal up. And far as I can tell, man, that doggone line play in that MEAC,
Hmm.
they they head and shoulders better than us on the line up front.
Got you.
You just look at last year. I mean, that offensive line, they had Miller mouth bleeding and everything. Last year,
Hmm.
and
Yep.
you see what that line did to. I mean, it probably over 450 yards. I had to guess it was a lot. They
It
just
was.
And I know we was a little undermanned, but still, no 1 or 2 men wouldn't have counted for that many y'all. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So I just think they line play,
Hmm.
and they got a lot of, and you got experienced coaches there, who believe in black college football. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That North Carolina Central team and that South Carolina State team from last year. All them, them guys, black college guys. They like we know this thing. You know what I'm saying. So,
Hmm.
I just think they take a lot of pride in it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense. Definitely the line play. That's been like one of the key things that I've been hearing as far as JSU is they have to get their line, get a better offensive
Hmm.
line. So I can definitely see that being the case. Um, man, I don't know if you caught the part where I was talking about the other quarterback for the other team, the NC team.
Yeah, Daniel Richards or whatever.
Yes,
Dude, a
man,
beast, man.
he got a lot of attention on him now for the way he played. I think he gonna have a lot of eyes on him just as well.
Yeah, you remember I told you, I was like, man, that kid, I said, he looked like a baby Dante Culpepper over there
Yeah,
to
you
me. You
said that.
remember I
Yep,
told you that?
yep.
And, man, I know that kid at least 6'3", man, probably 230 something, at
Yeah, he
least,
was a
man.
big kid. I was looking at him. I was like, you wasn't lying. You wasn't lying about him. I was like, man, I was watching him throw that ball and he ran a couple plays and I'm like, this guy, he's on to something with this guy.
And he seemed level headed. Shadur was
Hmm.
level headed. I mean, you can't both both teams. Normally, I never really see that in black college ball where both quarterbacks are battling out like that. I can't think of. Of course, we've had it, but just right offhand, it's normally one quarterback on one team is head and shoulders better than the other, one, and have two,
Hmm.
two top flight quarterbacks because each of them had the same amount of touchdowns for the season, 36 apiece. But of course, Richard got his a little different. He got his
Yeah.
running and passing, but Shador got his
Hmm.
majority passing. But it was just as two well recruited teams. It just show you what it'll look like if you got the recruits and people, believing and buying into both programs. It just show you what black college ball look like.
That's what I was saying. I was saying that a little bit too earlier. Like with those recruits coming down there, we always talk about it. Like, what if Cam Newton would have went to a HBCU, or what if, you know, Edgerrin James had went to a HBCU? Like, we got a little glimpse of that with these recruits, these star recruits coming down there. What the game would look like, and how competitive and how great the game would be if we had those kids down there. You know?
And of course, I don't know if you know this. So like in the 80s, 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, that's how the swag was. The swag was, Alabama, because, the white schools, they wouldn't recruit the black players. So if you played
Hmm.
ball, you got to think Walter Payton chose Jackson State over Kansas. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
so of course, when they were saying on ESPN, Jackson State had never won that many games in a row and stuff. Of course, it had. It had. Even in my lifetime. But there were years we had 11 and 12 players drafted. We had
Yeah.
in the 80s we had more NFL players drafted than Alabama, Mississippi State, all these schools, because Mississippi was so racist. Ole Miss and Mississippi State was still slow to get black players, so we was getting all of that.
Gotcha. I do remember
Yeah,
hearing about those 11, 13 kids going into
uh
getting
huh.
drafted into the NFL. Yeah.
The same team, and I
Hmm.
think with WC Gordon is one of our most prestigious coaches or whatever. I and I think he went like a couple of years. He had over 25 players drafted. So, but
Okay.
once after the 80s, the 90s was still we were still getting a lot of players, but after but the millennials and stuff, you know, and that TV once that TV money got in it just took it to they went other places
Yeah.
with it.
Hmm.
But you just think with that NIL or whatever, that stuff where them players able to make money, on their name, image, and likeness or whatever, that's helped black colleges as well. Because the kid
Oh
can make their
yeah.
money, the kid can make their money anywhere.
Exactly. Yep. It's no longer under the table to where it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, like it's a secret, and they going over to Kansas, or they going to, Kentucky and all that. It leveled the playing field to a degree where it's not, it's not as just as beneficial to them PWIs, them 500 schools, you know.
Yeah. But one thing, when they talk about the underfunding, I was just gonna say this one thing. I hate, that's actually the state is underfunding the schools. It's not,
Yeah.
alumni. Is that okay? Mississippi State and Ole Miss getting this percentage, and Jack State entitled to this, but they're not getting it all. It's traditionally been underfunded, and so
Hmm.
Mississippi is a little different. Like, okay, like Texas, Prairie View, it's under the Texas A&M system. They get funded, or Louisiana does a good job funding Grambling and Southern. I'm sure they can do more, but Mississippi, of course, you can tell with our water situation and stuff, our governors don't
Yeah.
give a damn. Our state government don't give a. They not even trying to make it look right.
Yeah.
So we actually do give at a higher percentage. I think Jackson State give at 13. Alumni give like a 13% give. National average is only 2%. So we
Mm.
give above, but alumni dudes ain't gonna fix 200 years of disenfranchisement.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not gonna make up that big difference, that big gap, you know?
Exactly, yeah. But we
Um,
definitely, most all HBCUs, definitely take pride on doing more with less. So, that's okay. That's cool too.
yeah.
You know.
I was gonna say, what do you Where do you think the upside for JSU is going from here? Now that Coach Prime is leaving, what do you think their ceiling is for next season? What do you hope for?
I hope they make it back. And
Mhm.
and because you think about it like this, we don't need the 4 and 5 star. Of course, it's good to get them. Because there's some kids, there's certain kids I'm bought into this HBCU thing. We're gonna, and happy to have them, but we can win the SWAC and all of that because you just okay. The top 20 players in Mississippi, Dion never even recruited. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So,
okay.
so with us getting those and and getting our 3 and 4 star key. I mean our 3 star kids, leave us right there because Campbell College, that school that Jackson State played for homecoming, and that was
Hmm.
the school one of the school North Carolina Central lost to, and Jackson State beat them. But they got the number one recruiting class in FBS, and that guy only recruit 3 star players. You know,
Got you.
so that's why I say that's what we need to focus on that, especially since we got of course, like I said, it's been some years where we struggled to even get to 3 star. So to be able to be in position now with all this popularity, we can just do that and get them 3 star athletes and develop them. Should be right where we are.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna look as flashy, but with Prime walking on the sideline, but we can still. I expect to see us there next year.
Yeah, I think they'll still be competitive. I believe they still gonna keep a couple of those recruits. They gonna still recruit well. I'm believing they still gonna have a great season. I don't maybe not undefeated. I think we might have
Yeah,
talked
of
about this
course not.
last time.
Yeah,
Probably not undefeated, but it's still gonna be a great season. I still think they're gonna be able to maintain that level of competitiveness. I'm hoping they do, and I don't think we talked about. I don't even think when we talked privately.
I talk about.
Did we talk about Coach TC being hired? I don't think it was announced when we talked that last time.
When I talked to you, no, I didn't know it, but I knew I want him to be on the short list. But
Hmm.
of course, every and that's one reason I believe by them announcing TC as the hire, which he was on the yard the same. He was the quarterback at Jack State when I was there. Of course, he was a stud. Then he
Hmm.
lost his job. A much better quarterback. Hold on
Okay.
one second.
Hmm.
Hold on one second.
Take your time.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm still here. We can hear you.
Okay. So and got moved to a receiver and ended up being a lights out receiver, a
Mm.
record breaker, So of course he went on to play with the Patriots and all of that. But so I think what I was getting ready to say about them hiring TC and everybody know, that he, we, he been winning championships other places, he has the pedigree and all of that. That made that Dion leaving, swallowing that made it a whole lot easier
Yeah.
because I would just didn't want us to. You just think, okay, yeah, we know Ray Lewis was looking to get in coaching and Marshall Falk, and all these people, you know what I'm saying, and these people, interviewed and stuff, but them guys living flush at home. They living in plush lifestyle.
Yeah.
Everybody's not Prime. You know what I'm saying? That was amazing that Prime could be, of course he wanted to coach his kid. Him getting up,
Mm.
he being up in there at 4 a.m., in the morning and and all that stuff. We don't know if them guys gonna work like that.
Right. Put the same level of effort.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm glad we didn't go for the splashy hire.
Yeah.
And and TC never stopped recruiting. That's how the second he was named, we have had three-star kids to commit, and
Nice.
and then we got a Coleman stand, and so now he got to recruit. He just need to recruit some of them guys in the locker room now. Make sure
Yeah.
they stay. That's gonna be his best recruiting job. But So we happy to have TC. And like I say, he was the guy. He was on the yard at the same time I was there, so I was ecstatic that he got the job.
Yeah, it seemed like a good hire. Just even when they showed the video of him being hired, how the kids took to him, you know,
Hmm.
they was happy to see he was a coach, and just from what I've been hearing about him, he sound like he a good coach, like he'd be a good fit for JSU. So I'm
And
rocking
you
with
think about it, how he was the Swiss Army knife for the coaching staff, even under Prime. Just for
him.
him
Yeah,
not knowing Prime, but he started a tight end coach. Then the offensive coordinator, Dion wasn't happy with him. They got rid of him. TC called, he called, he was the offensive coordinator up until the championship game last year, which we didn't know why he didn't let him call that one. And
yeah,
then, he came back and became the receivers coach. And, that's probably one of them and the linebackers, probably the strongest, outside the quarterback, the
yeah.
strongest unit on the team.
That's true. Yep.
So the guy can coach and done it on, he been a coordinator and he came from our junior college system too, which Mississippi has the toughest, the strongest junior JUCO football in the nation.
Oh, didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, so that's why you yeah, yep. So when you play, players and stuff that don't qualify for Texas and all that, they always come here and play.
Okay. Okay,
Hmm.
that
So
makes sense.
he coached on the JUCO level, so he used to dealing with big time recruits and stuff.
Hmm.
So it's especially at the right time.
Okay. You got any other, comments as far as HBCUs? Any other games you watched? Any other players to look out for? Any other head coaches? Anything else you want to
Uh,
speak on?
yeah, man. I mean, check out for that doggone FAMU, man.
MU,
After
yeah.
after they lost that game to Jackson State, they ain't lose another one. and
Mm,
and of course, like I said, all them schools in the MEAC be tough.
yeah,
They
yeah.
always have good players, but I just say keep watching. Just keep watching and you know, and and I'm glad. And last other thing I'll say too, and I'm glad that the HBCUs now, you look at all their roster, they really starting to recruit nationwide now, not just in their little area.
Yeah.
You probably could, I have to give Dion a lot of credit for that, or and I hope I'm sure now, once it got started, now you can see it can be done. Now everybody's doing it now. You just you just look everybody uniforms and everything stepped up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I did notice too. Those uniforms looking real crisp.
Yeah, everybody. Of course, Jackson State got 9 of them now, so I hope they don't wear that chrome helmet. I can't stand that, but
I understand that.
I didn't like the chrome helmet. But I know the youngsters like it, so keep
Yeah.
it. But I ain't like that chrome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check them out some more. This was my first full season for me. Technically, watching as many HBCU games as I did, I'm trying to get into more,
You got to
look at
come
more
down
teams.
here, man.
That's the plan. I was just telling my girl that
Y'all got to
we
come.
gotta come. We want to see a live game. We want to see it. I think it's gonna be one of those mind blowing moments to see that, just the atmosphere and how you guys
Exactly.
do it down there.
Exactly.
Hopefully next season. I'm really hoping for next season. I think next season for sure is gonna be the one. I really do believe. I'm putting a lot of faith in it. I think next year we're gonna definitely be in there.
Yeah, and I'm definitely glad to see the stands full because most of the time that's the comment they was talking about where you remember they was talking about Dion talking about 28,000 and then
Yeah.
60,000. He actually was talking about how the film they cut it up, wrong. He was actually talking about how you got 60,000 out there tailgate, 28 in the, in the
Yeah.
in the stands while actually watching the game, but seemed like that's definitely a change. Jackson State didn't do that as bad, but a lot of do. A lot of schools definitely like
Yeah.
it. You definitely gonna see about the many tailgating gonna be in the stand. But
Yep.
so I'm glad to see people coming in there. And at Jackson State, we didn't wear the same. You know how you see the team wear blue, the fans
Hmm.
wear blue. We didn't do that. We dressed up for games. So that's
Okay.
sort of new. Yeah, yeah, they dress up. We dress, everybody dressed up for games for the most part. But so that all is new, which I like. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we used to wear.
Cool aspect. Yeah.
This year the first time I ever wore a t-shirt to a game ever.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
So
hoping
yeah,
we,
y'all
we,
definitely
we
have to come, man.
that's what I do. I'm hoping we do it. I'm gonna call her after this and let her know we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta plan around this and go. I don't know which game. I don't know. I'm gonna definitely keep in contact with you to let you know when we
Yeah.
come and plan it around the game and come down there and see you and see the game and we can
Yeah,
all
once the schedule come out, I definitely tell you which ones to, come to.
okay. Okay, that sounds like a good idea. All right, yeah. So I'm gonna wrap it up, Kenneth. If you got any shout outs or anything else you want to drop on the people, go
Yeah, I was
ahead.
gonna say what I was gonna ask you one other question.
Okay.
If Eddie George don't win, even though he got the NFL pedigree, I think he'll be gone after next year. What you think?
Oh, if he
Or
don't
Hugh
win,
Jackson?
you think
if they,
he
cause
if
they,
he is he
they
leaving
have a,
because he'd be upset to leave, or I mean upset because he lost, or do you think he if he get a better coaching job?
I'm thinking the administration will fire him.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Then I can see that. I can definitely see that too. Then yeah,
Because I'm
yeah,
thinking Tennessee State and Grambling are two prideful schools.
yeah. And for him to be
And
a
I
big
would,
hire.
yeah. And so what I'm getting at, just being an NFL guy is not going to get it. You go to,
Mm.
Grambling lose to Jackson State 3 years in a row. They don't want that coach there.
Yup. Yeah, I
So
think
I was
you
just
can't
thinking,
coast.
keep an eye on that.
Yeah, you can't coast on your name. I think
Exactly.
these schools is definitely living by tradition and just they wanting results just the same as any other team, any other school. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna pay attention to that now that you brought that to my attention. I forgot about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
See if Eddie George and Hugh Jackson, he came from the Eagles, see how they
Hmm.
turn out.
Definitely will. But yeah, man, I'm
But
a
I enjoyed it, man. Appreciate that.
yeah, man. I'm glad you hopped on. I definitely wanted you to get your opinion on it. Let the people hear your opinion, especially being an alumni from JSU and going to a HBCU for somebody to, you know, come from it. I think that's a great aspect for people to hear.
Exactly, because like I say, I was a kid when Jerry Rice leaving the stadium crying when he torched Jackson State for three
Yeah,
touchdowns, crying like a baby.
man.
but I remember those days. Or
Yeah.
McNair, I wasn't crying because I was in college, but I
Hmm.
remember, he going for 700 yards almost and all that.
Man,
Yeah,
those
he was
those
a
are great
beast.
games. I might have to try to see if I could find some clips and find some video of that. And maybe I
Yeah,
could go
you
back
need
and
to,
watch
man.
it and do some commentary on that while the season is over. Get them
Exactly.
something to look forward to and maybe even check out themselves, all my subscribers and viewers and stuff.
Yeah, and y'all Southern California players been doing good for us too. We got
Yeah.
that kid from San Diego. A couple
Hmm.
kids from San Diego, and they play ball. They ball.
Hmm.
So we need to
Definitely.
keep getting some of them California kids.
Yeah, that's the wild thing is a lot of our kids go down south to play football. They don't go to UCLA or the USC's and Stanfords and
Mhm.
stuff. We see a lot of our kids being recruited down there to y'all.
Yeah, that's how my ex-wife had come to Jackson. We met at Jackson State, but she came to play basketball.
Mm.
At Jackson State.
See?
From California.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild to really think about. Yeah. But yeah. Well, yeah, Kenneth, man, I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I
All
appreciate
right.
you coming up here, dropping your commentary, giving us your 2 cent, and I appreciate you being a supporter of the channel, man.
All right. And peace to you in the chat, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, so to everybody, man, we out of here. Everybody who came through, hit the like button. Whatever you did, if you dropped a comment, hit the like, you chat, whatever you did, I appreciate you coming through. You stopping by, if you're catching the replay, if you shared the video, whatever you could do, I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody showing that love, whether you're a new subscriber, long time subscriber. I appreciate y'all, man, for real, for real. And man, hopefully y'all come through on the next one. Y'all see me talking about this college football, maybe boxing. You might even catch me playing the game. You're gonna catch me playing the game. I might drop another video on y'all. Might even go live on it. But catch y'all later, man. This Henny God Slick. Peace.